No, madungog ra ko ninyo.
Yes, guys.
Okay. Sige, mag-start na. Sige, mag-start na So, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. So, for today's discussion, we will be tackling about the lesson 9, which is the solar system. So, the reporters are the following. Yours truly, Kyle Angelica, Jelly Oturam Akuram, Journally Potestad, and Cherry Faith Limates. So, while we are discussing the topic, I hope that you will follow the rules, which is in the acronym LBP. The first one is to listen attentively. The second one is be respectful at all times. The third one is to participate actively in the class. So, but first, before we will go to the further discussion, let's have first our pre-test. So, I hope nakaandam na mo 1/4 sheet of paper. Nakaandam na mo for another kuan pre-test. Okay, the directions are the following. The directions, put T if the statement is true and F if the statement is false. So the first one, there are 6 planets in our solar system. Is it true or false? Again, there are 6 planets na siya, planets in our solar system. Is it true or false? The second one, a planet called a celestial body that orbits around the sun. Is it true or false? Again, a planet called a celestial body that orbits around the sun. Is it true or false? The second one, the sun is about 26,000 light years from the center of our galaxy. Is it true or false? Again, the sun is about 26,000 light years from the center of our galaxy. It is true or false? The fourth one, solar system is collection of planets, moon, comets, dust, and gas. Is it true or false? Again, solar system is a collection of planets, moon, comets na siya, comets, dust, and gas. Is it true or false? And lastly, number 5, Mercury itself doesn't have any moons. Again, Mercury itself doesn't have any moons. Is it true or false? Okay na? Okay, sige. Okay nang uban?
Yes, guys.
Sige. So, let's... Okay. Ano naman to? Okay, sige. So, let's check your own paper and be honest. So, number one is false. There are 6 planets in our solar system. It is false because there are 8 planets in our solar system. And the second one, a planet called a celestial body that orbits around the sun. So it is true. The third one, the sun is about 26,000 light years from the center of our galaxy. It is true. Number 4, solar system is a collection of planets, moon, comets, dust, and gas. It is true. And number 5, Mercury itself doesn't have any moons. Mercury itself doesn't have any moons. So it is true. So, okay na. Check your kuan na lang. Check your own paper then afterwards unya kana mag-post test then send it na lang pod sa messenger as your attendance sub. So, let's move on to the engagement activity. Okay na ta? Sige, sige. So, let's move on to our engagement activity, which is entitled The 4 Picks One Word. I hope, di ba, familiar naman jud mo ani. So, I hope you all guys cooperate in our engagement activity. So guess, what is it or what does the pictures, the entire pictures, ano, does it convey? No, it has 5 letters based from the letters that I put.
Orbit.
Okay, correct.
Orbit.
Orbit.
Yeah.
1. So what does the 4 pictures convey? Does it convey? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 letters.
Distance.
Yes, distance. Next one. Yes, distance. And next one. The next one. Guess lang. Hello? Tawa sila. Ah, yes, correct. It is reflect. Yes.
Isa naman ka
Nasayop na na.
Sa'yo, Prabo.
Kay ako lang siya gituyo ba kay mag-double naman gud ang letters. Dayon, the next one.
Space naman siya. Space.
Yes, space. Space. Then the last one, last na ni siya. So what does it convey? Yes, correct. Yes. Okay. Okay, all you guys got correct. So I hope this engagement activity as we go further to our further discussions, I hope you've learned. Okay, planet, correct. So I hope kanang you've learned something on it based sa amuang koan as we go further to our discussions this afternoon. So, it's a planet. So, here are the learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, you are able to define and describe the solar system. The second one, define and explain the importance of the sun and the Milky Way. And the third one, identify and describe the 8 planets of solar system. So, solar system. The solar system is a collection of planets, moons, asteroids, comets, dust, and gas that orbit our local star of the sun, which is the sun. So, what do you mean by the orbit, Gani? So, orbit, it is a circular shape that rotates a full circle or a range of experience. It means it is also a repeating path that one object in a space takes around another one. So, for example, a satellite can be also natural like Earth and Moon's orbit, like this example. Kani siya, in which ang ang Earth magtuyok siya sa Sun, and also ang Moon is magtuyok siya beyond sa or inside sa Earth. So mo na siya gitawag nato nga orbit, or yes. So it also includes the rocky inner planets, which are the Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. So those inner rocky planets, or the Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are also called terrestrial planets, and they are also otherwise they are also known as telluric or rocky planets, and it is composed of silicate rocks and metals. So nagcompose daw siya og kanang mga, from the word rocky, nagcompose daw siya og mga silicate rocks and metals. Then the gas giants are the following: the Jupiter and the Saturn. So this gas giant it is a large of planet mostly composed of helium or hydrogen. And these planets like Jupiter and Saturn in our solar system don't have any hard surfaces. So wala siya mga hard surface. So instead, it has swirling gases above a solid core. And the next one, the ice giants, or the Uranus, Neptune. So Uranus, Neptune, mo na sila ang katong planet nga gitawag nga these are the ice giant that have a cold and remote giant planets because their interiors are compositionally different from Jupiter and Saturn, which are richer in hydrogen and helium, and also known as gas giants, like what I've said a while ago. Then the next one, between the Mars and Jupiter, it is a collection of asteroids known as asteroid belt. So when we say asteroid belt rather, it is a torus-shaped region in the solar system located roughly between the orbits of the planets Jupiter and the Mars, and it also contains a great many solid, irregularly shaped bodies of many sizes. And while beyond the Neptune, it is where the small icy bodies like Pluto and comets live. So it is small icy bodies are like the small chunks of dry ice jet and swirl across a liquid surface. So like comets, these chunks of dry ice slowly disintegrate as they move, leaving a visible trail or condensed water of vapor. So mo ni siya ang katong mga kuno naay mga ice, kumbaga naay siya yung mga ice dayon. It is a comets are massive of chunks of ice, frozen gases, and dust that orbit the sun. Then as they near the sun, these slowly travelers to give off gas, shrinking and forming glowing tails that can stretch for millions. So how old is our solar system? So it is about 4.6 billion years ago, and it is a giant cloud of dust and gas known as the solar nebula collapsed in on itself and began to form what would eventually become the solar system's sun. So, ang solar system daw kuno is nagagikan siya sa solar nebula, in which ang solar nebula is ning-collapse siya itself o maano siya reason ngano daw kunong ning form ang nganong naate gitawag nga solar system, which is the planets. And the Ayunzay meteorite, it is which fell to Earth in 1969 and scattered over Mexico. It is scattered over in Mexico. It is the oldest meteorite at 4.55 billion years ago. So, from Ayunzay, kanang the other side siya ba, murabag from the laing planeta, ning kuan siya, ning fell siya dulong sa Earth, which is what we call the Ayunzay meteorite. So, Ayunzay meteorite, during this examination daw kuno, it was discovered that the Ayunzay meteorite contains calcium, aluminum inclusions with um represents some of the first solid matter to form the solar system. So it is also the largest carbonaceous chondrite ever found on Earth. So that was 1969 when they discovered it sa Mexico. Hindi naman yun mo kung ano. Hello? Napa mo? Oo, kajat lang ha. Wait sa. Hawa naman. Hawa naman noon eh. Kajat lang kay murag. So how did our solar system form? So scientists would think that the solar system formed when a nearby exploding star called a supernova triggered the collapse of solar nebula. So it is caused po daw kuno, like what I've said a while ago, due to the shock waves nga naa sa kuan, shock waves nga within sa supernova mo daw kunong ning collapse jud siya, ning collapse siya. It is because of the shock waves kanang murabag siya, di ba, og maglinog. For example, maglinog if mag-shock, if unsa ni mag-wave ang ano, di ba, naaman siya possibility nga murag siya mo collapse gyud siya, like like sa kanang mga buildings, ana na siya kato ng mga shock waves. The next one. So, let's tackle about the sun. So, sun, it is a giant raging ball of fire powered by the nuclear reactions, and it also provides the energy that sustains life on Earth. So, it is the yellow dwarf star, is made of gas about 91% hydrogen and 89% helium according to NASA. So, according to NASA daw kuno, so, according to NASA, it has the yellow dwarf star, or the sun itself. It is made of gas, and about 91% anak niya is hydrogen and 8.9% niya is helium. So, by the way, the sun is also the center of all planets. So, the sun is about 26 light years from the center of our galaxy according to NASA. Okay, let's move on. Kaate journally. It's your turn na te. Oh. Oh, dili di ay si ano? Si Jelly. Sige, go. Sorry. Sige, go. Sige, go, Kira.
Sige. So the Milky Way is a spiral galaxy with curved arms emanating from its center. So why is the Milky Way a spiral galaxy? And it's because The Milky Way is a huge collection of stars, dust, and gas. It's called a spiral galaxy because if you could view it from the top of a map, it would look like a spinning wheel.
Okay.
So the solar system is located in the one of the smaller arms called the Orion's arm of star, or simply the Orion arm. So when we say Orion arm or Orion Cygnus arm, it is a minor spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy.
Okay na. Sige, wait. Saka joke lang. Sige, go. Sige, go.
Next slide, okay.
Okay na.
Our solar system planet. 8 preferred planets and many dwarf planets orbit the sun. Rocky materials could withstand the young sun's immense heat. So the first four planets, these are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are spanned with rocky surface like Earth's surface. So Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are small with rocky surfaces are called terrestrial because they have a compact rocky surface like Earth's terra firma. The terrestrial planets are the four innermost planets in the solar system. So when you say terrestrial planet or rocky planet is a planet that is composed of permanently assorted rocks or metals because they are mostly rocky in comparison, whereas
Okay na.
as ice, liquid, or gas visible in the outer regions of the young solar system. NASA says naming the gas giants Jupiter and Saturn, and the ice giants Uranus and Neptune as well as here. Next, Abigail. So planets. A planet is a celestial body that is in orbit around the sun, has enough mass to show hydrostatic something in a round shape and has to be delivered around its orbit. As you can see, the sun, the planets, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So this is the planet. So the first planet is the Mercury. So Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. It is only 58 million kilometers or 13 million liters or 0.2 kilometers away. However, the smallest planet out of the eight is the western planet. Mercury has a high density and it is primarily composed out of rock and iron ore. Its surface is heavily cratered, very similar to Earth's moon. So Mercury is the lowest and fastest planet in the solar system. It is also the closest planet to the Sun. It is named after the Roman god Mercury, the fastest Roman god. The planet Mercury was known by ancient people thousands of years ago, and it has no moon. Mercury orbits the Sun once every 87.17 days, while one Mercury day is equivalent to 59 Earth days. Surface temperatures range from 173 to 427 degrees Celsius. The small planet has a diameter of 1,870 kilometers or 3,000 32 meters. So the second planet is the Venus, the second closest planet to the Sun. Venus is on average at a distance of 180 kilometers, or 7.5. It is the hottest planet of the solar system. Temperatures are around 260 degrees Celsius, 4.5 times the amount of heat needed to evaporate water. Its diameter has been measured to be, hindi na ako makita, to be
To be 12. Ay, ano na lang kay, og ako mong siya i-drag is kuan siya ba, sana, maghang.
Okay, so Venus is the second planet from the Sun, and its closest planetary neighbor. It's one of the four inner terrestrial or rocky planets, and it's often called Earth's twin because it's similar in size and density. And it's the hottest planet in our solar system, even though Mercury is closer to the Sun. So and it orbits the Sun once every 225 days. One day on Venus is equivalent to 243 Earth days. Thus, a day on Venus is longer than its atmosphere is very thick, composed mainly out of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and clouds of sulfuric acid.
Ay. Proceed kay Ate Shirley.
The third closest planet to the Sun is Earth is an average distance of 1 MI or 1 from the Sun. It only has one moon and several other planets. Earth is the biggest terrestrial planet having a diameter of 12.760 kilometers or 7.926 feet, and surface temperature of the Earth around 40 degrees Celsius. Around 70% of Earth's surface is covered with water, while the atmosphere is 8% hydrogen
11% of oxygen and other
and that's why
gases.
the Earth is our third planet of the sun. Ocean, is also known as the ring planet because of all the iron which is iron plus like oxygen makes the surface of atmosphere look red. Temperatures naturally because of its iron oxide.
Deimos, Deimos. Next.
The Mars atmosphere and the surface temperature are all average. Degrees Celsius. One gases means atmosphere is the most gaseous.
Intense. Intense.
Jupiter is called physical because spirits that reach out is a diameter of 126. While possible formation, it is only second Saturn in the terms of satellites.
Sunod, cherry fate.
So the next is Saturn. The sixth against Janet. Saturn is 1.4 billion kilometer per 886 million millimeter or 9.5 million span. So 1 span. Seven closest next as the king of the moon since it has 82 confirmed satellites. Its atmosphere is made of hydrogen, helium, and other gases. Next, Saturn's diameter has been estimated to be at around 100 kilometer per 74.900 millimeter a year on Saturn. Is the equivalent of the year for only last 7 hours. The average temperatures of Saturn are around negative 178 Celsius. Saturn is probably
The most recognizable planet.
recognizable planet of the solar system. Yes.
Proceed na sa Uranus.
Next,
Okay na. Uranus no.
Uranus.
Wala siya.
Uranus, the seventh planet from the sun. The Earth's giant Uranus. Uranus is 1 kilometer millimeter or 19.5 it is classified as the presence of it also has a main system it is the oldest planet. The solar system is solar system. Neptune, the farthest planet it lies at around 4.8
First is wind speeds of any planet. 160 kilometers per 1.
Okay, so mao daw to siya ang kuan no. Okay na Cherry Fate. So those are the eight planets of the solar system. So what are the eight planets of the solar system gali? Okay, those are the eight planets of the solar system. And ngano daw kunong naay solar system? Then why does nagbigyan ang solar system, or why does the solar system evolve? Or how does the solar system evolve? Anyone? Okay, so like what I said kanina, it is evolved or it is formed it because it began with the due to the supernova, the explode of supernova, which is cause niya is katong shock waves nga mao ay naka-cause niya naka-triggered sa iyaha why we have this solar system. Now, I have here a trivia. So, since Pluto has a very elliptical orbit, it can sometimes get closer to the Sun and Earth than Neptune. So ingon people says that Pluto has a very elliptical orbit daw kuno because it's getting closer to the Sun and Earth kaysa sa kaysa sa Neptune. Because Pluto's orbit around the Sun, it is unusual compared to the planets. It is both elliptical and tilted. So, ang Pluto daw kuno is naa siya 248 year long. It is also an oval shape, and it is an orbit that can take it as far as 49.3 astronomical units or AU from the Sun and close as the 30 astronomical units. So, naa daw kuno siya kuan siya. Ang sa Pluto manggod is dako siya ganang shape ba sa iyang sa iyang orbit. If asa siya naka orbit, it's because naa siya kuan. It has a 248 year long oval shape. That's why sometimes maka getting closer siya sa Sun and Earth. Then, the second one, the most cratered planet of the solar system is the Mercury. So why? Why it is says that the Mercury is the most cratered planet? It is because Mercury's surface resembles of Earth's moon, which it is scarred by many impact craters resulting from collisions of meteoroids and comets. It is because sa kadalaging katong ang mga meteoroids and comets is naa siya padulong sa Mercury. That's why makabuo-buo siya kanang mga crater. So, it has daw most cratered planet sa Earth. Pareha nang makita na to sa moon. Mo na siya, or like sa amo ang PowerPoint nga kaning na yellow. Mo na siya ang katong mga crater. And lastly, some believe that Saturn and Jupiter came close once, thus provoked the Great Flood on Earth. So, some people believe that that Saturn and Jupiter came close once and thus provoked a great flood on Earth. So, naano siya uh, what the unsa na ay? Biblio, biblio, ano sa tawag na? Dili. Kanang mga Bible ba? Based sa kanang mga Bible na ano siya mga story, bibliographical, nasa mga Biblia or sa mga Bible. Why does daw kuno nga it is provoke as a great flood on earth when they say it when the Saturn and Jupiter came close once. So mo na siya. Then every 15 years, the rings of Saturn briefly disappear from view due to their angle. So every 15 years daw kuno kay a ring daw kuno sa kanang Saturn is magka-disappear due to the angle. So So, it is a ring plane crossing the Saturn. As the Saturn goes around the Sun, it is periodically turns its rings edge of the Earth once every 14 or 15 years because the rings are so thin, they can also actually disappear when viewed through a small telescope. So, imagine no, kanang every kuan daw kuno, ang ring daw kuno sa Saturn is nipis ra di kuno na siya, mo na magka-disappear siya every 15 years. And the second one, Saturn produces the eeriest radio emissions in solar system. So, when we say eeriest or eerie, it is it is strange or frightening or makes you feel nervous kanang mga strange sound nga naa sa mga langob-langob, nana ba? Mga hadlok. Muna siya yung mga Aries. Muna siya ang paano ang Saturn makaproduce pa daw kuno siya og Aries radio emissions. So the last one is the Mars is the second most populated planet when it comes to robots. So why? Ano daw kuno that Mars is the second most populated planet when it comes to robots? Based from the katong mga articles nga nabasa or sa social media, 'di ba? Ang Mars is kuan Mars is, as we all know, that it is also populated with entirely by robots. So our scientists kuno making their efforts to make them more autonomous and explore the rocky surface on their own have been also successful. Katong robots nga gipadala sa Mars para daw kuno makita kung unsa daw kuno itsura sa Mars if maduol. So naaman talitoy katong murag 360 nga 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 image nga gi-share gikan sa ano dayon sa NASA. So it also turn these bots can teach us more about our closest neighbor in the solar system. So that's it. So remember that Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. The Venus is the second planet of the Sun, Mercury. And the third, katong Earth, wala dire. So Earth is the third planet of the Sun. Mars is, despite being red, Mars is actually a cold place daw kuno. And Jupiter, it is the biggest planet in the solar system. And Saturn, it is a gas giant that has several rings. And lastly, the Neptune. Neptune is the farthest planet from the Sun. So, post test na ta para mahumanta. So, get 1/4 sheet of paper in order to test your knowledge or what you have learned from the topic. So, directions. Choose the letter of the best answer. Please answer it honestly. Number 1. Okay na tanan? Okay na tanan? Okay, number 1. It is a collection of planets, moons, asteroids, comets, dust, and gas that orbit our local star, which is the sun. So what do you call that? A. Solar system, B. Galaxy, C. Space, or D. Universe? Number 2. How many planets in the solar system? So A. 12, B. 6, C. 8, or D. 10? And the third, it is the center of the solar system and is its largest object, accounting for the approximately 99.8% of the solar system mass. A. Moon, B. Sun, C. Reflect, or D. Planet. So number 4, 8 confirmed planets and many dwarf planets. Blank the sun. A. Orbit, B. Evolve, C. Surround, or D. Around. And lastly, these are small and with rocky surfaces. A. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. B. Jupiter and Saturn. C. Uranus and Neptune. And D. Mercury, Jupiter, and Uranus. So let's check 1 to 5. Before tamu move on before we'll moving sa true or false. So number 1, it is a collection of planets, of moons, asteroids, comets, dust, and gas that orbit our local star, the sun. So unsay answer? Correct. So how many planets in the solar system? Planets in the solar system? C. 8. So the third one, it is the center of the solar system and it is the largest object, accounting for approximately 99.8% of the solar system mass. So what is it? Sun. Okay. Sun. So it is also number 4, 8 confirmed planets and many dwarfs planets blank the sun. What's the answer? Orbit. Correct. Yes, correct. So these are number 5. These are small with rocky surfaces. So unsay answer? A. These are the Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. So another test 2 direction. Put T if this statement is true and F if this statement is false. So number 1, Jupiter and Saturn are known as the gas giants. Number 2, Uranus and Neptune are known as the ice giants. Number 3, Earth is the third closest planet to the Sun, and it has an average distance of 150 million kilometer per 93 million miles or millimeter or 1 astronomical unit away from the Sun. It has only one moon and several other smaller satellites. Number 4, Saturn is the closest planet to the Sun. It is only 58 million kilometer per 68 million millimeter or 0.39 astronomical away. And 5, some believe that Saturn and Jupiter are once close once and thus provoke a great flood on Earth. So some believe that Saturn and Jupiter came close once and thus provoke a great flood on Earth. Is it true or false? So, okay na? Okay, sige. So Jupiter and Saturn are known as the gas giants. Is it true or false? No, it is false because Jupiter and Saturn are known as the yes, they are known ano, as the gas giant. Then you're oh, true di ay, oy, true. Sakto di ay. The seven, the seven, Uranus and Neptune are known as gas giant, ice giants. So it is true. Then Earth is the third closest planet. What's the answer? Check. So number four, Saturn is the closest planet to the Sun. What's the answer? False, because Mercury and Mercury, Venus, and Earth are the closest planets to the Sun. Then the fifth one, some believe that Saturn and Jupiter came close once if and thus provoked the great flood on Earth. So true. So count the number of check, then send it to the ano po. Okay, correct. So send your check your answers. Then send it to sa kuan PowerPoint. Ah, yes. So, kadit lang.